You can sort of divide our story up into a few chapters, really. You know, chapter one was when we had these full service agencies. You might remember that. Not many people do, which is where I started in the media department, and we were down in the basement along with the sort of the post boys and the photocopying machines. And then somebody had the idea of setting up a specialist media company, media buying only, that's all we did. And the first of these was Zenith, and I happened to be one of the founders of that company in London. And you know, we then rolled out globally. We set up in China, and then 20 years ago we set up in the US, and I moved here with my then very young family and tried to survive the US experience, and it was tough. You know, I feel as though we've sort of been somewhat of a pioneer, but made the road early a bit easier for some of our competitors, to be honest. Because you know, when we set up, people like Martin Sorrell, it was Martin then, not Sir Martin. You know, he said we're never going to take media out of JWT or O&M, and of course it's now become 95% of all media is now handled in these specialist media agencies. So yeah, it's when you look back, yeah, that's a nice story, but there were some few car crashes and bumps in the road along the way. Really being that sort of analog transactional media buyer, which is what we were, you know, we found ourselves sitting at the sort of epicenter of this new ecosystem where we've got data and analytics and content, and suddenly we found ourselves, hey, you know, we're almost a media agency is almost a full service provider with relevance to the client. Every single client's business is being disruptive. So we found ourselves not just as the media agency across all these different vehicles, but we also find that we've got the opportunity to participate in the sort of transformation of our client's business. So what we did is, a year ago, as you know, we got together our senior management, and as a result of that, we said, look, you know, if we're going to help our clients deal with this transformation, we better start transforming ourselves. So, you know, it was, you know, in essence, what we've done, if we boil it down, we've tried to simplify our business. You know, we've removed layers, removed duplication, make it easier for clients to navigate their way through our own organisation. And it's been, as you can imagine, a lot of change in the organisation. Change doesn't come easily, but you know, I feel absolutely we're on the right track. If you look at digital, you know, it's unquestionable that, you know, if you take a business that, you know, the industry today, total industry, it's about 550 billion US. So that's a pretty good business. The business is growing at about 4 or 5% every year, so it's clicking on a healthy rate. And consumers are consuming more media. There's not many of our clients who see that sort of growth in terms of consumption of their products. So the media world is healthy. And digital within that is really powering along. You know, again, we forecast that growth will be 14%. You've got an average of 14. You've got digital growing at 14%, and you've got the, you know, we think by 2018, 40% of all investment will be in digital. All of that is good. On the other side, this challenge that we have about engaging with consumers at a time when consumers are empowered by technology, and they can find a way of circumventing these ad messages, which are inappropriate, and ad blocking is a huge challenge for us. So on one side, you know, we see the business growing very strongly, as it should do, as it's going to continue to do. All media is becoming digital, all digital is becoming addressable, and all addressable media will eventually become programmatic. So the sort of journey we're going on looks pretty clear. The challenge we have is how do we respond to this ability by consumers to eliminate these unwanted, annoying intrusions. And that, for me, that's the biggest issue we have today in terms of if we don't kill the golden goose, which is the digital platforms. If I go back, you just asked me about the sort of journey we've been on over that sort of last 30 years. You know, and of course, you know, you had advertisers who not only could explain to their CEOs how they were playing the money, they could show them. Here's a magazine, here's a TV ad, look where it's gone out. Of course, the reality today is very hard to have that sort of quantification exactly the same way. So we talk about half of my advertising money is wasted. I just don't know what half. I suspect most clients would say, I'd happily take half now, because you know, while media is becoming more measurable, the growth and plethora of bots and ad fraud is definitely the big. You know, I think it's the biggest issue. So you've got technology on both sides. You've got technology creating a sort of breakdown in trust between consumers and the brand, but also in terms of between clients and their agencies, as everyone tries to find better verification of what we're truly buying on the client's behalf. Right now in Publicis, we're developing a Publicis ID, so we'll be able to take surrogates for individuals and be able to target them based on specific amounts of information. So, this is something where, the clients will own that data, but we'll be able to interpret that data in order to serve specific messages. And I think, within the next few months, I think this will give us ability to deliver that quantification, deliver a quantifiable ROI with real clarity about ensuring that these messages are appropriate to that consumer. So it's our way of making sure both the content and the message is delivered in a way, and that in a way when consumers are receiving messaging and content, which is enriching their online experience, they're far less likely to want to opt out of that communication.